chillin', never lazy, just ecstatic, energetic with a little bit of crazy. She works it up and though she doesn't keep track, whatever, everything left over goes up top and in the back. And when you wanna pop the question, don't be bringing a rock. Get down on your knees, son, and show it that ring pop. She's sucking on it and she ain't gonna stop. You know you gave it cherry flavor, now that cherry's getting popped. Eating like it's copulating, no one's gonna stop it. She's a crazy lollipop, a latent hungry kitty monster. If you're jumping home, you getting line, cause everybody wants a little piece of that candy ass. She's eating like it's copulating, no one's gonna stop it. She's a crazy lollipop, a latent hungry kitty monster. If you're jumping home, you getting line, cause everybody wants a little piece of that candy ass. Alright, so this song was written by my dick. So if it sucks, don't be too hard on him. Don't ride him too much. Yeah, stop and give me something for my blood sugar drop. Man, the candy shop's closed and my heart's gonna stop. My stomach's gone numb, it's got me weak in the knees. I need to snack up to get back up, but I'm easy to please. And then she struts on by with that look in her eye. My hunger gets me so hard that I'm ready to cry. My sweet tooth's aching as I pass her pristine hourglass full of sugar called the Calorie Queen. She's got a wide selection, carries every flavor. Yo, we could do this now, but we could also do it later. She takes one last bite, recite the crumbs on her chest, and with the wing she asks if I want the rest. Eating like it's copulating, no one's gonna stop her. She's a crazy lollipop, a latent hungry kitty monster. If you're jumping home, you getting line, cause everybody wants a little piece of that candy ass. She's eating like it's copulating, no one's gonna stop her. She's a crazy lollipop, a latent hungry kitty monster. If you're jumping home, you getting line, cause everybody wants a little piece of that candy ass. She's got the whole package in the front, mad sackage, got that shipment in the back, and I can't wait to unpack it. Need a snack, gonna grab one off the rack. She's always fully stocked, this honey ain't one to slack. The other girls say, oh my gosh, she really loves that Fugazi, man. Fuck these basic bitches, they can't handle the Dagashi. All choking, getting sick off sugar stick that thick. But the candy queen, she takes it down with the lick of her lips. Don't be lying, guys, she's got you mesmerized from looking in her eyes, the way you look at her thighs. Dara's hot and she likes candy, that's really all I'm trying to communicate here. Eating like it's copulating, no one's gonna stop her. She's a crazy lollipop, a latent hungry kitty monster. If you're jumping home, you getting line, cause everybody wants a little piece of that candy ass. She's eating like it's copulating, no one's gonna stop her. She's a crazy lollipop, a latent hungry kitty monster. If you're jumping home, you getting line, cause everybody wants a little piece of that candy ass. Oh, right, sweet stuff, calorie power will purpose. And when she swerves on by, all your wife is getting nervous. Hiding my heart within a secret compartment stand. The number of fingers you wanna stick inside his armpits. Want some comfort food, what you been eating? She got the milk duds, fine vines, itching for breathing. Naturally sweet, not a drop of synthetic. Dig into the spread and eat until I'm diabetic. She's copacetic, always chillin', never lazy, just ecstatic, energetic with a little bit of crazy. She works it up and though she doesn't keep track, whatever, everything left over goes up top and in the back. And when you wanna pop the question, don't be bringing a rock. Get down on your knees, son, and show it that ring pop. She's sucking on it and she ain't gonna stop. You know you gave it cherry flavor, now that cherry's getting popped. Eating like it's copulating, no one's gonna stop her. She's a crazy lollipop, a latent hungry kitty monster. If you're jumping home, you getting line, cause everybody wants a little piece of that candy ass. She's eating like it's copulating, no one's gonna stop her. She's a crazy lollipop, a latent hungry kitty monster. If you're jumping home, you getting line, cause everybody wants a little piece of that candy ass.
Hello, hello, hello. Can you all hear me? Am I hearable? All that fun stuff? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Checking, all that fun things that we have to do when we're starting up a live stream. Make sure all of the things are available. Yeah, I'm walking around a little bit. I'm using the webcam mic for now. I can switch over to my headset mic if it's not clear enough. I do have extension cords for that. It just makes things a little bit harder for me to move around. But how's that? Is that a little bit better now that I'm closer to the headset or to the mic? Does that sound a little bit better? Okay. I think actually for this stream, I'm going to try my headset mic. So, we're going to switch out real quick. Give me just a moment as I drop things all over the place because I am clumsy. Oops. RAR and stuff. Okay, so let's see what we can see. Headphone mic. Microphone. Hello, hello? Can you... Oh wait, no, it's not there. Testing, testing. Nope, it doesn't have the audio channel. Does not have the audio channel. Okay, so let me. I put an extension cord on my audio cable, but apparently it's not pushing through the. Yeah, but it's not coming through the headset. It's not coming through my headphone mic. It's just coming through my webcam mic. No, in this case it would be OBS or the extension cord I got, because I got an extension cord. I'm going to try one other thing. I want to see if it is in fact the extension cord. So, yeah, it's the extension cord. It does not like the. It does not like this particular headset, which is a bummer. Yeah, you'd think an aux pass-through line would still be okay. Let's pick some music and see if I can hear it. Okay, I can hear it. That's fine. Great. Hi, everybody. As long as I can hear and you can hear me from the webcam mic, I'm good with this. I'll just push the webcam mic, the headset mic out of the way. Hello, hello. So, as I was saying, and is in the title, today we are going to do some leather assembly, and the assembly today is we are going to attempt to make a pony friend. What is a pony friend, you might ask? Well, we're making a leather pony hood. I have all the components out here to the side. Let me see if I can dig them all out. We're going to do basically everything but probably the fastening straps if that comes if we get to that point. Some of this is going to be a little bit difficult. Some of this is going to be very easy. There's going to be a lot of stitching, which can take a lot of time. This is, as you can see, this is a much bigger project, which is why I have moved the camera so you can see more of my work area. You can also see the giant mess that is over here. That is all of the finished products that I just kind of push to the side, and when they are done, before I sort them and put them get them ready to ship out. But this way you can see much more of the beautiful space. You'll be able to see more of me doing things. You'll be able to see more of the process I use. I won't have to be quite so careful about where on the cutting mat I am working, so because you can see all of it a little bit better. We are also going to, of course, play some music or have some kind of audio background while we do this, which I am more than happy to take requests on. So if you have music choices that you like, or you'd like to start me out with something that I can play, I would appreciate that. And then we'll just kind of let the music go where it wants to go. But if you guys, so do you want to give me something, Lori? How about you give me a song or some kind of music that I can get started with, that I can put in the background. That way I can also judge how things sound musically, volume-wise, compared to my voice. Because we don't want the music to override my voice. Hey Raven! Hey Raven, how's it going? Meow meow. Meow meow meow. Meow meow. Meow. Raven, you got some music for me to check to test my music? Well, okay, so I'm gonna play this now that you're here, Raven. Please tell me, how is the music volume compared to my voice? I mean, as long as I have this up, I might as well play it for you, Raven. But yeah, more music volume, please. A little bit? Okay. You're not just saying that because it's the song, right? How's that? Does that sound a little bit better? Compared to my voice, does that sound decent? Meow, 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 meow. I did display love to. It was all the men. Okay, so how's that? How is that? Is that a little bit better? Okay. Alright, so does anyone else have any musical selections? If not, I will just start rolling with a mix and play kind of whatever comes up into the mix. And it's starting with a whole ton of Leo, also known as Frog Leap Studios, which I'm generally okay with, but I'm certainly Strength to Go On by Rise Against. Oh, okay, let's pull that up. And well, I need to put on a mix, so I can't do a song by song request, but so we'll just let this go for now. There's use a mix. You have a mix for me? Tokyo Funky Lo-Fi Playlist. Well, why don't we see... Okay, why don't we do this and... After the song plays, let's check out Lori doing... That could work, Lori. But yeah, let's get this started. What was I going to say? Right, we are building a pony hood today. The pony hood is good because... That might be another stream, Lori. In all honesty, I might actually do that, but that might be another stream. We are going to start pony with the stitching parts. The stitching parts are kind of involved. We have to stitch this together here, so that brings it together and gives a little bit of a curve. We have to bring this together to give this one a curve. I shouldn't have edged those. Okay, I keep making that mistake. And then this piece stitches to this piece and creates the curve of the upper. I'm totally an edgelord. Yeah, totally an edgelord. Hey, Sakura. How's it going, Sakura? How are you today? Okay, so let us pull out a couple of our needles. I'm going to be trying a different thread than I usually use. I'm not going to be using the I'm not going to be using the typical sinew, artificial sinew. That's the word that I was looking for. Sinew, artificial sinew. Why don't we put on... Okay, I'm going to put on Lori's little lo-fi mix. Just to see how that is. If we want to change things up, we can switch to other things. Do a little bit of low-key stuff. Yeah, we're going to use a slightly different thread today. I wanted to try this thread for a bit. It's a little bit of a thinner thread, but it should be... It's not as beefy as the artificial sinew, but it should also be a little bit less, I don't know, ubiquitous, or I don't know how to put it. It should be less, it's going to be less noticeable, I guess. It's going to be more of a, it's going to be lower key than the sinew. Oh, are you going to be giving that to someone, Raven? Is someone going to be getting that heart choker that you made today? Or did you just make it to make something fun? Which is also entirely a valid reason to do it. Well, good. Nifty, Raven. You go get it. This is going to be a little more difficult, isn't it? There we go. Alright. This will be a good test for this particular type of thread to see if I like it. so I might use it for the future. Ooh, yay fajitas. I haven't done fajitas in a long time. I should do fajitas. Like, it's not difficult, it's just I never think about it. Especially when I'm cooking. Like, I don't think about my cooking all that often. So what I'm trying to do here that is so freaking hard is a way of securing the thread to the needle, which is by pushing the needle through the thread and locking it through. Because these aren't like clothing thread where it's a single strand. You did beef. Beef fajita sounds good. Yeah, clothing thread has to be secured kind of a different way because clothing thread has to be secured kind of a different way because it's so thin, but the thread you use for leather, especially when you're hand stitching leather, is thick enough that you can pretty much you basically run the needle back through it and it comes through just fine. We will be using a cross stitch on this like we did with the last stitching project we did. Cross stitching is a very secure way of holding this kind of thing. It is quite good for making sure that everything stays tight. Yep, that's the right way. The disadvantage, so the advantage of this thread is it's a little bit thinner, it's a little less obvious. It's going to go through, it's going to pass through the holes a little bit easier. The disadvantage, of course, is that it's going to sort of not fill in those holes as well. So the holes that I drill for putting the holes that I do drill for putting the leather through are going to be a little more obvious. So this is kind of, a trial run. Do I like this thread or not? It's always good to try new threads, new components, just to see what's going to work for you in the future. How easy it is to work with, what's the look that it gives you. One of the other advantages that I'm seeing with this is that it stays more firmly secured to the actual needle. The artificial sinew likes to... So artificial sinew is a wax thread that is... Honestly, it's almost abrasive, which sometimes means it's very difficult to pull through, to work through the leather. It also kind of wants to slip free of the needles because it gets caught as you're drawing it through. The drill holes. So it kind of it wants to sort of come free or rip free of the needles. I have sometimes had to redo some stitching or redo some threading because the sinew kind of caught and worked itself free of the needle, and then I just couldn't get it back through no matter what I did. You know. So already I can tell that this is going to be this type of thread is easier in some ways, but I'm not sure I'm happy about how it sits through the holes. If I used a smaller drill point or for punching the holes, maybe it would be okay. But for the holes that I've drilled, it's just not filling them out the way I want it to. Not enough to make me want to redo this whole piece, but enough that I probably will go back to my sinew thread for future pieces, for the other pieces, and use this for maybe something that is a little bit lighter, is built maybe around a little bit more flexible leather. Very cool. Very good, Sakura. Hey, Sayori. Hello, Sayori Kirishima. Thank you for joining the stream. Today we are doing, as the stream heading says, we are doing a little bit of leather crafting. We're making a pony hood mask, or at least we're getting as much of it done as we can that is feasible on stream. In the time that I have here today. Sayori or Sarah? Okay. In which case, I'll just call you by your, I'll call you by your screen name, because, you know, that way only people, you know, that way randos don't get to know your real name, I suppose. No need to give the randos all your information, right? All right. So that's that first part set. Nice and easy. Also with my camera, so I adjusted my camera up a little bit so you can see more. You can in fact redeem head pads, Sarah, or Sayuri. In which case I will attempt to head pat you or congratulate you for something that I know about you or that you said on stream. That's generally what I mostly use it for. It's to give chat a method of... because everyone needs a little head pats, and everyone can use a little recognition now and again. You know? Raven redeems head pats on a regular basis. We also generally have we have a proxy head pat for when I do live streams. His name is Harold. So I will pull out Harold in just a minute. I first want to finish melting this knot. Let me finish this little piece right here. Fire. 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 So what do we think about that, chat? Do we think that thread's a good size, or should I go with the bigger sinew thread? So I'm going to hold it by the side so you can maybe see... Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking we should really go with the bigger thread for this. Luckily, this is a small piece, so it's not really going to show up here too tightly, but yeah, let's go with bigger. For the next piece, we'll go with bigger. Okay, and here, we'll actually get, because of the camera being higher up, we can see Harold better. Say hello to Harold, everybody. This is Harold, the head. He is our model for a lot of our products. So we love Harold. And Harold is your proxy for head pats. So head pat, head pat, head pat. Head pat on the Raven for doing more leather work and picking up all the tools that you've been wanting to get. Maybe not all the tools, but you know, we definitely appreciate Raven picking up some tools and some leathers and getting to expand their creative making of stuffs. So head pats for Raven for getting some good tools that will really help you move on to the doing other things that you want to do. And we now have an ad break. So head pat, 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 pat. Okay. You are Raven. I did notice that you picked up, despite what your teacher said, you did in fact pick up the leather shears, which is good. Leather shears will, oh my God, will it help you in so many ways. Yes, flat cutting your leather is good too, but sometimes nothing helps like just having a pair of good shears. Yeah, isn't it? Do remember, though, with any kind of shears or other heavy-duty blade like this, they will need care and sharpening. So at the very least, you'll want a honing steel. So every once in a while, you'll want to use a honing steel on those shears, so they keep their edge and they keep they lose any burrs or anything like that gets worked on. They get because of that, and also every once in a long while you might need to actually get them sharpened. But for the most part, what you're going to need is the shears. Is to just keep those shear sharps by having a honing steel. So the next piece we're going to do more cross stitches. We're going to do them, as you can see, it's a much longer cross stitch. We're going to go, this one, we are going to switch over to the sinew. We're going to switch back to the sinew. We do like the sinew. The sinew is handy. It is a bigger thread. Yep. If the shears are very well formed, you will definitely be able to tell when they need to be honed, because you'll feel the burr rub against and create a little bit of friction when you are cutting things. And also when you're just opening and closing them normally. So when you're doing this, it should be a very smooth action. if you can, you'll feel any burrs on a well-made piece of a well-made set of shears, because that action, you'll feel a little roughness to it. You'll feel places where it catches. So watch out for those. That can especially happen if you're cutting glued materials. So sometimes it's not the best thing to do, but sometimes you are going to want to, you're going to glue something, and then you're kind of immediately or very quickly need to cut them for some reason or another, and that can leave some glue residue. On them. And you can get little substances and oil and glue residue and things like that on your shears. When that happens, that is another reason to hone them, because using a honing steel will usually remove any foreign substance from sitting on the blade. And there's really nothing kind of worse than having something just sit on your blade, because it can get corrode. It can, even if it's stainless steel, it can cause damage over time, things like that. This is my second pair of shears. My first one, I will freely admit, I did not take very good care of. And so by the time I started taking care of it, it was really too late for that one. For that pair, I ended up giving them to a friend of mine who knows someone who is going to fully restore them. So yeah, that's something to watch out for. You'll notice that for our project today, I already punched most of the holes. I already did all the stitching holes. That was just because I did all the edging. That's because this is a longer and more difficult project, and I just kind of wanted to make sure I got it moving for you today and have a good chance of getting it mostly done if possible today. This is a pretty complicated build. Especially when we get to the part where we attach the mane, because I use artificial hair to create my mane for these. Oh, thank you, Raven. I actually forgot to grab a bottle of water and put it next to my workspace. So what I will do real quick is, after I finish this stitch, I love you all, but I will finish a stitch before I do anything that gets redeemed in chat, because if I don't finish a stitch, it will completely throw me off my place. So, yeah. Okay. Alright, let me go grab some water. I'll be right back. Okay, I am back. I'm back. I have had my water. I have hydrated. Uh... There are a lot of things around my house that need work, Lori. I can actually do almost none of them because I have no money. Hi, Gaz. And so a squeaky door is literally probably the least of my concerns. Although, speaking of zombies, as many of you know, I have been playing Project Zomboid, both on and off stream. Lori and I have been doing a bit of multiplayer off stream, because it's fun. And I've been doing a little single player off stream, so I don't mess with my on-stream stuff. My single-player campaign... Remember how I was saying, Lori, how I've basically been starting... I apparently started in the most... Like, the West Point map is, like, the most difficult place to start, because it's, like, entirely urban. Or suburban, I should say. And there's just zombies everywhere you go, and you get chased everywhere, and blah, 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 blah. There's no real place to hide and take a break in the starting area. Well, I found out that maybe we should have done our multiplayer there, because it's got a really cool area that's away from town. That is literally like a camp on a lake kind of situation. So think like summer camp. It's basically got a summer camp. An off-season summer camp location. And it's got a lake, and it's got all the buildings, and it's got all these cool, nifty little spots where you can like harvest wood. Like there's tons of wood to harvest and lots of space and a big building and a lake. So yeah, if you ever decide we want to like move locations or something, we can give it a try. But and of course, for my on-stream game version, we are continuing our task of securing our fire station and securing our prison. And so far, we've determined that the prison is not necessarily that difficult of a place to take over, potentially. Anyway, going back to the leatherwork stuff, so you can see why we're doing this. The reason we're doing this is because by stitching this together like this, it's creating a curve. It's slowly bringing the leather together, and as the leather comes together from this separation, it creates a curve. And we're going to need... And it's without doing any kind of wet molding or shaping of the leather. This is the easiest way to get a curve in your leather, is to create this kind of slit. For this project, I'm going off of a pattern that I bought. But when I'm doing this... when I'm trying to modify a pattern or make my own, sometimes it's... Oh, no. The leather didn't come pre-cut. The pattern did. So I have the pattern, And I can show you those. I'll show you the pattern pieces after I finish this section. So I have the pattern, trace the pattern onto the leather, cut out the leather. But someone else makes the base pattern. And then my talent is I'll oftentimes modify. Yes. So I cut it, I punch all of the holes for the stitching, I punch all the holes where all the rivets go. All that stuff. I do that stuff. Yeah, and I can show you as I said, I can show you the pattern pieces when I'm done with this section. Which, this is going pretty quickly, so it shouldn't take me too long. The next section is significantly more annoying. The next section is we have to stitch two pieces together, layered, which gets to be a little annoying at times. But this part's easy. This part's just do your cross stitch. Sometimes if the cross stitch isn't very important, what I'll do is I'll do a skipped stitch, cross stitch, which is where I basically, instead of doing both needles through every hole, I'll do one needle through one hole and one needle through the other. I wouldn't rely on that for something that is going to be that is not going to be supported. But if it's going to be supported, it's generally fine. Aw, thank you for the head scratches, Raven. Thank you. And I'm sorry, Lori, I am not into the lo-fi stuff. Not right now. The easy listening stuff is not really going to work for me. No YouTube. I don't want just Rise Against. Box on, box, box on, box, box in, box in, box on, box. Box on, socks. Quick step. Quick step. You guys make me feel so old. You make me feel so old. This is my favorite song from when I was a child. When I was like 20. Maybe not exactly 20, but you know what I mean. Yeah, Sakura Kitsune is our resident is our resident young stream viewer. They're all about the EDM and digital stuff. At least if we judge by their Beat Saber tastes. I like EDM in certain circumstances. But then that to be said, I may have misjudged how much thread I need for this. Because I'm kind of used to doing the skipping stitches with these, which uses... But, you know. By the way, this guy, Matt Glocky, I think his name is, does some incredible mashups of style and songs. Truly admire. Yeah, I'm much older than anybody here. Well, except maybe Lori. I don't know. And Daruda, when Daruda shows up. I wish. I am certainly a lot better than I was. So, I will say this. Mentally, I am way better than I was in my 20s and 30s. Like, I was a fucked up 20 and 30-year-old. Especially my 20s. 30s, not so much. My 30s was when I really started being able to when the, shall we say, don't give a shits started taking effect. That is honestly the biggest thing that happens in your 30s and 40s is you really start to differentiate between, like, what you actually care about and what doesn't fucking matter. And when that happens, you gain such a sense of freedom. Now, physically, fuck, do I miss my 20s. Ugh. Whoops, I made a stitching mistake. Oh well, that could be fixed. Not that big a deal, actually. So, let me show you what I did. I don't know if you can see that. You can see where I basically, instead of crossing the stitch, went down on a couple of stitches. That's not going to really cause a problem at this point. It's one stitch. As long as I can correct it, as long as I corrected it, which I did. It also isn't showing on the other side. So it's fine. It's completely fine. I just had to correct and keep going. I blame chat. Y'all are distracting me, and so I missed a stitch. You'll see a bigger mistake that I made when I stitch the next piece. So, Sayuri, this is Calliope Mori under her original DJ guise. Before she became Calliope Mori, she went by the handle Demon Dice. Her stuff was a lot, I would say her style was a lot more biting when she was Demon Dice. And she has done more work as Demon Dice since becoming Mori Calliope. And technically, like, you really try to avoid drawing the two together. It's considered impolite, but yeah. She's taking a hiatus, but she still very rarely, occasionally publishes things as Demon Dice. Why is that, Sakura? Any particular reason? And I find a little... So, Mori Calliope being Demon Dice is one of those kind of open secrets. Yeah, I think VTuber agencies have a lot of problems, especially the Japanese-based ones. Would I say that I think Hololive is one of the better ones? Sure. But it has its problems. They all do. Like, there's nothing you can do. Like, I won't say there's nothing you can do about that, but... Alright, so that's this one. We're done with this stitching section. So I'm going to tie it off and melt it up a little bit just to secure it. This is In This Moment, which is one of my favorite bands ever. I think that honestly, Sakura, I think that's true of just being any kind of VTuber that has a following. That's going to be a problem. Because if you're a big VTuber or of any kind, then it's really hard to separate that public from private face. We do have ads starting in about a minute. All I'm going to do, so we can see how that finished out. You can see the little bit of a curve it gives it. I will sit back for a moment while the ads are running. And then I will show you what a pattern for this kind of project looks like. Because I have the project piece, I have the pattern pieces handy. Oh wait, do I? No, I don't. I'll pull out some of the pattern pieces so you can see kind of what they look like. Let me unstring all this crap from the needle so I can get it ready for the next stitch we do. Oh, baby. Oh, supposed to leave me. Not for you. All right. It's technically not Sakura. Well, Hololive is only girls, but they all also have a branch called the Holo Stars. Oh wait, we're in ads. We're in ads. So I want to thank you all who are watching for being patient through these pauses while we. Sorry about that. Ads help keep Twitch running. They help keep me doing this. It is something that you should, Yep, no ads. It's definitely, it keeps us running, It does pay me some money. A very little bit of money, but it does pay me some money. No, come here. Okay, so I'm going to show off a few of the Really? Did it? Oh, I didn't think it would have the angle for that. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So here are a few of the pattern pieces involved with this particular project. So you do have to cut this out. Usually they come in printable on standard printer paper. I usually use a cardstock to print them on, and I also coat them, just layer them in tape to increase their sturdiness. But as you can see, this has all of the rivet holes punched. So I will say, Raven, if you look for me, you can find me. Like, a face reveal isn't that hard to find, but I won't try to. I'll try to avoid it while I'm on stream. But yeah, so you print out these pattern pieces, you put them together, tape and sew them, and then you can trace out the pattern onto your leather, and it also tells you where all of the rivet holes are supposed to go. It shows you the sort of beginning and end for your stitch lines, and you'll be able to see one of my big mistakes that I made. When I marked the last stitch hole on this top piece, I thought it was supposed to be a rivet hole. So we have stitch holes that are going all the way to this rivet hole here. That is fixable. That is something I'll be able to cover up. I'm just going to have to do it a little bit later. What I will probably do when it gets to that point is I'll just take a little dollop of hot glue and put it in the hole to fill it in. And then use a little black ink or black dye to cover it up. It happens. That was just me going a little fast, and I didn't want to have to cut out and remark and redo the entire thing. But yeah. All right, so the next pieces we have are more stitching. We're going to be stitching these two pieces together. As you can see, these roughly fit, but they are not an exact fit. So like these ones, what'll happen is as we stitch this more and more, it will force the leather into this kind of curve. And so that's what we want. We want this. We want a lot of the stitching in this is to allow us to do the curves of this hood without having to do any kind of wet molding or wet shaping. Not that wet molding or wet shaping is a bad thing. It's just that for a lot of people who are putting together patterns like this, you have a lot of people who are kind of new to leather work and don't really know what to do for wet molding or shaping. So they try to make their patterns as accessible as possible, which I absolutely can appreciate. So I won't say I say this, but effectively, honestly, anybody can do the things I do. Nothing that I do is really all that difficult when it comes to this leather work. Given the instructions, I almost guarantee you that... Whoops. Did I whoops this? Yes, I did. There we go. Anyone can do the stuff that I'm doing this badly. I'm getting off started. I basically just used the wrong needle to start this. That's okay. All right. Let's kind of start over. But yeah, basically, I'm a firm believer that anyone anyone really could do what I do. It just likely would take them a lot longer than it takes me. With some basic instructions, pretty much all of this is pretty, it's pretty you know, leatherworking, this kind of leatherworking is really not all that difficult. It's just kind of labor intensive and kind of time intensive. And doing this as long as I have, I've learned all of the things that can help make it less time intensive and less labor intensive. And I've also learned kind of the little things that, you know, a lot of the little things I still am learning. That can sort of show you the difference between something that is, you know, the little accents that are maybe show a little bit more of how things are more professionally done, you know? By the way, I no longer try to screw with needles that don't want to go through the leather. That's why having a pair of pliers So Sayori, I can appreciate that mindset. But it's really not. I almost guarantee you that if I gave you the tools and some very basic instructions on how to do this, you could do this. Like, there's no question in my mind that you could do that. Like, it's... Now, I will say that I will also say, though, that some of the challenge is not in, like, following is not in, you know, following just a pattern. That I think the real skill comes in kind of coming up with your own stuff, coming up with new stuff. That is understandably much more of a challenge. And, you know, that I absolutely appreciate is much more of a talent. And, you know, I have a little bit of that talent, maybe, but I also have some serious impedances to me doing that kind of stuff. That makes me kind of... that makes it a real challenge for me to do many of the things. So, yes and no, Sayori. So, one of the biggest things I had to learn when I started to learn sewing is that actually sometimes it's very much the opposite. Sometimes what you are doing makes no sense whatsoever, and you kind of just have to have faith that the end result is going to come out the way you expect it to. There is a lot of things I make where you have to do some sort of interesting stitching to get it working. And, like, you put together the stitching and go, I have no idea how we're supposed to get step C out of stitching together A and B. Honestly, it's like this. It took me a long time to understand why that V split that we had in here, when you stitch it together, creates the shape you want, which is this curved shape. It took me a long time to get that. Like, I absolutely... And the thing is when I'm making my own patterns and stuff, or adjusting patterns, trying to shift patterns, I still often have to do a lot of experimentation and a lot of trial and error, because, especially if I'm trying to go for a curve like that, because I know through experience that if I create that kind of V and stitch it together, it will create a curve. But I sure as hell don't know how big of a V I need to split to create, you know, like, I have to trial and error to figure out how big of a V I have to make to generate the kind of curve that I want. And it's a real challenge. Like, it's no joke. It's definitely a case of, like, it is in fact, yeah, it's, I mean, I can't really put it other than that. It's, and, yeah. So I appreciate where you're coming from on that, Sayori. But that doesn't mean you can't do the thing. It may take a little sort of adaptation or a little adjustment to do it, but it doesn't mean you can't do it. You know, oh, so believe me, I absolutely, like, when I started doing more complicated projects, I was like, So, Sayuri, there is a little bit of that in this. There's definitely a little bit of this in that, in this. But you don't have to, like... It is perfectly okay to just follow the instructions without sort of understanding the why for a while. And eventually you'll start kind of understanding how the things work. And even if you still can't really keep that visual of the end goal in mind, you'll figure out workarounds anyway. You'll just figure out workarounds in a more compartmentalized fashion, I guess you'd put it. Like, so you'll kind of like, instead of figuring out workarounds for the project as a whole, you'll figure out workarounds for the part of the project, like for the component. And you'll start to go, oh, well, I know this workaround for this component that lets me alter this component, and it will basically work the same regardless of, like, whether I'm doing, regardless of how it affects the project as a, the whole thing. Yeah, that too. So, how do I put this? Also, this is destroying my thumb, as doing a lot of stitching often does. I should put on a Band-Aid or something just to give my thumb a pad, but I'll probably have a blister on the tip of my thumb when I'm done with this. Because I didn't remember to have a bandage here, and I'm a glutton for punishment. Nah, I mean, if you don't, Sayuri, if there weren't folks like you, I wouldn't be able to make any money, because everyone would make their own shit. So, I am entirely happy for the people who go, you know what, I just don't want to, like, maybe I could figure this out, but it's easier for me to just pay for it. This isn't the kind of pain I enjoy, thank you very much. By the way, I don't know if you can see how this whole thing is just naturally curving as I stitch more and more of this down. That curve will become much more pronounced once I start on the other side. Yep, absolutely, Sayori. But, to give you a little... going back to that whole discussion about sort of finding workarounds for components as opposed to the whole project kind of thing, let me just say this. I have horrible spatial sense, 3D spatial sense. Like, I cannot judge distances or spaces to save my life. You know, if you tell me, you know, visualize a 10 by 10 foot room, I can't. I can't do that. I cannot do measurements. I cannot visualize measurements. I cannot visualize three-dimensional space. Which means it is basically impossible for me, for me to break complex three-dimensional shapes into two-dimensional flats. Which is, how do you make a pattern? You take a three-dimensional shape, you cut it, break it up into parts, and you take those parts and flatten them out. That's the reason I don't make my own pattern. A lot of the time I don't make most of my own patterns, and I buy patterns. Because I can't make that kind of level of thing. I can't visualize it. I can't do it. I don't know where the cut should be. I don't know how I'd flatten it out. Anything. However, what I've learned through practice and repetition is how to take a component of a project, and alter it a bit to meet my needs better. You'll see that a little bit later in this project if we get that far. This original pattern has some components that I didn't like. It also makes the mane. The mane for the pony is a leather mane. And I didn't want to do leather manes. I wanted to do, at the very least, artificial hair in the mane. But I also wanted to have the option to do a real horsehair mane on request if someone wanted me to make them a real horsehair mane. So I figured out how to alter the component that holds the mane and I did the mane in a different way. And I've done the same thing with other designs, like the designs that I don't really like. I have learned to customize them, to alter them, so that I'm able to adjust them. But that took a ton of practice. And I was I won't say scared, but I definitely had no faith. I had no faith that I was doing it right when I would do it. And honestly, I still don't have any faith when I do stuff like that. I've just learned to try things until I get it right. I still, don't really make full patterns. I certainly don't make full patterns. Cut full 3D to 2D cut patterns. But, yeah. Okay. By the way, I love talking to all of y'all when I'm doing this. It makes this whole process go so much quicker, like mentally. I couldn't tell you if it's making me go faster physically, but it's definitely making the whole process go faster mentally. That's for fucking sure. Sarah, do you do any 3D modeling or 3D design work or anything like that? Just out of curiosity? Although we are also in ads at the moment, so... Okay. Okay, one thing I'm going to start doing is... Did I... drop a stitch somewhere? Nope, I just miscounted. Wonderful! Great. That's fine. We can still work around it. The reason I asked is because Sarah, is because I was going to suggest using a program like Blender. Because I honestly think one of the things you could do in that regard would be to dang it. Come here, little stitching. I know you can come through there. There we go. Hey, Daruda. How's it going? What I was going to say is, I think one of the things that I would like to talk to a 3D modeler and try is to... By the way, Daruda, how are you today? I hope you're having a good one. One of the things I'd love to have a 3D modeler try would be to take like a 3D model of... Ooh, cool. I hope it was a good meeting. I am good. I am good. Just happy to get, you know, get some work done, get the leather stream going, have some fun with that. What was I going to say? All right. So... God, I lost my train of thought there. Oh, right. Take a 3D model, like a bust or like a, you know, a 3D model of a bust or a head. Hollow it out. Hollow it out using Blender, and then I think you can use Blender to then to like break up a, you know, basically break up a model into and cut it apart, and you could probably make a 2D pattern out of that. And I would kind of love to see if that's a thing that's possible. Put it down slowly. Getting hot at the body shop, doing something unholy. Because I bet that could be a really interesting way to, like, potentially make a 3D pattern or a, you know, to make, like, a stitching pattern or something like that. Or at least it would give you sort of some base shapes to work off of. Also, what I'm doing here, by the way, is I'm stitching the crossover because this whole piece has to get stitched in. So, just minute. Just these pop in it. Just get it down slow, deep. Oh, we getting hot at the body shop. Doing something unholy. Come on. I know you want to go through. Don't you want to go back to your... Don't you want to go into your hole? Don't you want to go into your home? that's basically, Sayori, that's kind of what I'm thinking. And then from there, it's a lot easier to, like, add the hemlines and add the parts of the... that, like, you could sort of add the hemlines and the actual stitch lines and all that fun stuff. What I'm doing here is I have made mistakes. I am correcting those mistakes. I'm just making sure this whole thing is very, very secure. All right. Let's... Yeah, I kind of screwed up this bit of the pattern near this section, but that's okay. Just, if all else fails, adds more stitches. When all else fails, add more stitches. Come here. This is why I use pliers. So I can apply some good force to it. Alright. So we don't have enough, as you can see, enough thread to finish this stitch line. So I wanted to get this stuff secured so I can trim it off and start another line. But as you can see, it's going to have to go over there, and then it's going to force it to curve. So it's going to kind of go there and then force it to curve down. But for now, let's just tie this off. Are we really almost 2 hours to an hour? Oh no, we're an hour and a half in. Okay. Basically an hour and a half in. Okay. And all we've done so far is have me gab and stitch. Admittedly, most of this is going to go really fast once we get to that point. Once we get to the... once we actually get done with the stitching. The stitching is honestly... the stitching is always the part that just eats up all of the time. So, so once we actually get to the point of assembling this, it's all gonna go a lot faster. Good at. What are you gonna make, Pet? What are you gonna make, Raven? What are you gonna start with? Because there's actually a lot of overlap you can do. That'll teach you how to make kinky leather stuff, but also will let you make things that are, shall we say, a little more socially acceptable. Fucking kawaii. Alright. So, like most kink people, kink leather makers, personally, I started with cuffs and floggers. That's a very common place for a lot of kinky makers to start, because they're relatively easy to make. They do teach you a lot of skills, and they're kind of the things that everyone needs. I will say that a lot of makers never really go past the floggers and cuff stage. Or, well, they really just enjoy making the floggers and cuffs and generally stick with that. And I know people who basically have made their entire leather making career about now making cuffs and floggers. And they make absolutely beautiful cuffs and floggers. Did I drop the pliers? No, they're right there. I firmly believe I could never do that because I would get fucking bored. I would absolutely just get so mind-numbingly bored doing the same things over and over and over. Ooh. Now this is a good cover. I love this song too. This is made off of me. Now, so don't you please forget me. I'm sure I must do this. Dirty Diana won't produce me. That's okay, baby. Do what you want. See if this is what I have. This things will lead. Maybe in the eye. It's not running back into the car. Diana, no. Dirty Diana, no. Dirty Diana, no. Dirty Diana, never see. Yeah, a brand can be kind of important. My brand is Rack Leather. Now, that has two meanings, obviously. Actually, more than two meanings. Um, so, you know, for non-kinky folks, when you hear rack leather, it's just, hey, look, he's got, you know, leather on a rack or whatever, you know. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's a... There aren't necessarily kink connotations with the term rack. Ah, that's what I was afraid of. See, the thread came loose. That's because of what I was mentioning. This leather, the artificial sinew grabs the leather a lot more. So sometimes it can pull loose. I mean, Raven, Soft Boy Leathers kind of has a ring to it. I won't say it doesn't. Like, kind of depends on how you want to, you know, your brand is your image, so it kind of depends on how you want to show your brand. If I honestly think as a name, that name doesn't sound... Yeah, could be. I have absolutely heard worse names for a company than that, so... Oops. Don't do that. Don't catch your leather when you're stitching. I don't know if it's visible yet, but I hope you can see how this curve is taking shape with the stitching lines I've got. Come here, you. I will admit, I was kind of tempted. You can sell whatever you want. However, if you think Soft Boy Leather doesn't work well for non-kinky leather, nothing's saying you can't have multiple brand names. I don't know how it works in the United States, or in Norway, or where you live, but in the United States, you can have your business can have multiple names. There is nothing like you can have a business registered under multiple names in the United States. I don't know if that's the same where you live, but I would assume so. And then you just, you know, have slightly different signage and content for whichever one you want to do. I can be your everything. I am not high. All right. All right, I'm really focusing on trying to get this stitching done. The stitching is so time consuming. I used to despise doing stitching. I really did. You know, partially because it was time consuming, but also because, like, I felt like I couldn't zone out while doing it, but I couldn't do anything, like, it requires just enough attention that I have to pay attention to it, but not enough attention to sort of trigger my hyper focus. So, for the longest time, I was like, fuck stowing, fuck stitching. I don't want to do anything that requires a bunch of stitching. You know, I don't want to do anything that requires me to do this. I hate this, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this. And I won't say I've come to enjoy it, but it's definitely a lot more, I don't know, meditative than I think I would consider it as it used to be. Having you all to talk to is certainly helps in that regard. Yep, body doubling, yay. We've had that discussion before. It absolutely helps. Hey, for once the music is giving me something I've never heard before. But hey, since I'm a metal fan anyway, like, I am all right with getting more metal on my playlist. Or at least have rock. We're getting so close to being done with the stitching part. The funny thing is how fast... Oh, why is that, Raven? Oh, is this the week you do go on your vacation to... Is this the week you go on your vacation? No, leather garters would not be hard to make at all. Actually, it'd be incredibly easy. And I could make them as complicated or as simple as you wanted them. About the only thing, I mean, the only thing about garters that makes them a little bit odd is you have to get the garter clip for them. And that's a very specific kind of clip. Well, it's not a very specific kind of clip, but it is a specific clip. So we'll just say it's the type of clip that most leather makers aren't going to have commonly in stock. So the garter, the garter attachment piece becomes a special order, but the actual garter itself, no, super easy to make. I mean, Sayuri, nothing to say you couldn't just get like a leather thigh band. I don't know if Sayuri can even hear me because it's in ads. Yeah, there's nothing saying you couldn't also just get a leather thigh band. You know, so Raven, if they don't want, if I can offer a suggestion, so if they don't actually want a full garter, you could do a very pretty thigh band using the heart loops that you have. So think of it like this. Do a heart that would sit on the front of the thigh and a heart that would sit on the back of the thigh. And then have the fastening for the strap on the side of the thigh. With either a buckle or a snap. The snap would be if you can get their actual thigh measurements. Although it would be less adjustable, but the buckle would potentially be good for that. Or you could do multiple snaps for an adjustable fit. Can you kind of envision what I'm saying, what I'm talking about, Raven? I know, buckles are good. I like buckles. But if you're doing something purely for cosmetics, a lot of times the snaps or something more cleanly fitted might look better. That's the only reason I suggest snaps. That's it. That's the reason I suggest snaps or multiple snaps, is because if you're going for a very simple, clean look, especially for something that's going on a thigh, then snaps might look a little cleaner. That's the only reason I suggest it. If the person wants actual garters, as opposed to a leg band, a thigh band, my suggestion would be to only do one heart, have the heart be on the side of the thigh. Oop. No, that's right. Have the heart be on the side of the thigh, so that way there's room for the garter to come down from the front and back of the front and back of the garter strap. I'm correct in that garters generally have two straps, right? They usually hold up at the front and in the back. Is that correct? I'm not wrong there? I haven't made any garters, so I couldn't tell you for certain. Hey, we're almost done. 5 stitches left. Come here, you. Generally front and back. That's what I thought. I thought so, I just haven't made any, so I couldn't tell for certain. And I haven't looked at them, recent. Yeah, that's a danger, all right. You have no idea how often I go, like, on Etsy or something looking for a single thing. And I just go, ooh, oh, ooh, oh, ooh. Yeah. Ooh, I need that. Ooh, I need that. Ooh, that pattern looks good. I think most people want to wear pretty clothes at some point. I mean, like, yeah, pretty clothes are just, they can make you feel so good. Like, I certainly wish I had the money to make or buy pretty clothes for myself. But right now I'm broke, so it's mostly just functional stuff that I can make, that I have to do for myself. Also, I am a fat, balding old cat, so my options for pretty clothes are a lot more limited. Oh, I know. Absolutely, I know. So when I say I'm balding, I don't like have regrets about that. I just acknowledge it as a fact of life and as something that I have to factor into some of my decisions. I do not think it is good or bad. And I think, actually, I know many people who... There are people who are balding who are just like... They're so afraid of it that they just look worse for their attempts at hiding it. And there are people who are balding who doesn't fucking matter. I'm trying to be the latter. You can either embrace the bald, or you can try and fight it and lose every time. So actually what I recently did was I buzzed my hair, my hair, the remaining hair that I have, the shortest I'd ever done. So just like I embraced it and I'm like, fuck, this looks good. Because I buzzed it super short and I really like it. Does it show that I'm balding? Yeah. Do I care? No, because it looks fucking good. I'm okay with it. All right. With this, we are finally done with the stitching component of this project. And holy shit, is that annoying. What does that mean? That means we can actually get... How quickly this shape will start coming together is a small miracle, and it's gonna be great. So I just need to get all my components, get my rivets together. I will need both sizes of rivets because there are places where I will need 2-piece rivets and there are places where I will need 3-piece rivets. Or long rivets, and there are places where I'll need short rivets. But let's see how far we can get on Mr. Pony in now. Yep. Okay. So this is going to look really weird. This is kind of what's called a gusset or a spacer. The way this is going together is going to kind of stun you in how the shape kind of works. So we're going to... And it all leans into that you have to curve things to get things to fit. That's also why for this piece I used a fairly flexible material. So I used this piece right here is fairly flexible. And it's basically meant to force the pony into the shape that you need to make it a pony. So I'm going to start with these 2 pieces, and they're going to go together, and you're going to see they're going to come together like right there. Dink. Having this part be flexible is very important. Working with a flexible leather is very important. They all contribute to projects like this working. The other option is to work with something like a veg tan leather and wet it down. So that way you can bend it and shape it to do the thing you want. All right. Is it coming in the air tonight? All right, so now here's the part that's going to kind of fuck with your brain. This is the piece that goes here. I might need to trim this corner a little bit. I'm going to trim this corner a little bit. And because I trimmed that corner a little bit, we're going to trim that corner a little bit just to keep the even look. Right, I was going to as soon as I finished stitching, and then I jumped right into the next thing. Yes, thank you. Thank you. I did need to hydrate. I needed to hydrate quite a bit. All right. This piece goes here. And snaps on. What we do with a drunken sailor early in the morning. Way laying up she rises, way laying up she rises early in the morning. Early in the morning. Rises way hey and up she rises, way hey and up she rises early in the morning. In the longboat till he's sober, put him in the longboat till he's sober early in the morning. This is where having good rivets can make a big difference. If your rivets don't fit well and they come loose, this can be so much more of a pain in the ass. The fact that it's coming together this easily, I'm like, oh, thank you. The hose pipe on him early in the morning. Up she rises, way hey, and up she rises, way hey, and up she rises early in the morning. Good, good. So out of curiosity, Raven, why are you unable to stream this week? I mean, you don't have to say if you don't have to, if you don't want to, but I'm just curious. I'll miss your streams. Get head pats. All right, Harold the head. Here is your head pat proxy. Pat, 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 pat. Aw, thank you. Thank you for coming by, Sayuri. Head pats for Sayuri for coming by. Head pats and head scritches. Thank you for being here in my stream. I hope you've enjoyed it. I have enjoyed having you here. I do appreciate it. Every person who comes in and enjoys my stream I'm always happy to see you here. I'm always sorry to see you go. Glad you were able to make it in. I will say this is actually one of the easiest times I've had putting together this particular piece of the pony. Usually it fights me more on these pieces. Suppose it's good that it's I guess the leather I picked is really right for it. Just goes to show the right kinds of everyone gets a free internet cookie. Yay, internet cookies! Shine bright, sunshine bright. Weird Science is the best song ever! I wish I could have my rivet setter on screen, but A, it really doesn't look all that good, and B, I really need to put the setter and the leather in some odd positions to make this fit. Ah, okay. So it's kind of just a combination of factors then, huh? What just fell? Something just fell. I think I just dropped one of the eyebrows. I will come back, look for that in a moment. Kind of a necessary piece, but we'll get back to it. Good. I will be streaming on Sunday. I don't know what I will be streaming. I don't know if I'm going to be streaming more leather or if I'm going to be streaming my casual Sunday zombie and other game stream. I guess I'll find out as we get closer to Sunday. The event that I've been prepping for is coming up pretty rapidly. It's about 2 weeks away. A little over 2 weeks. So, I've definitely been wanting to get stuff done for it. There we go. So, job hunting is on pause. We are about to hit my busiest time of the year, which is Pride season. So, for now, I am focusing entirely on the leather work and making sure I have enough stock and stuff for the leather. Which means that I have to sort of prioritize that because that is guaranteed money every year. And so I need to focus on it because I need money. So, and guaranteed money is just that, guaranteed. So I wonder if did I accidentally drop the eye into my spare leather bin? I did not. Well, I might have to cut another eye real quick if I cannot find it. That's annoying. There's one ear, there's the other ear, there's the back piece. There's one eye. Yeah, I must have accidentally knocked the other eye off my table somewhere. All right. I will certainly do my best to Alright, this is also the point where I need to start heating up my heat gun. So let me do this, or not my heat gun, my hot glue gun. So let me get this stuff set in, and then I will take a moment to set up and plug in my hot glue gun, which I will need for a couple of reasons. Come here, you. Me. This is a good song. I like the song. I've never heard it before, but it's a good song, I can tell. All of these rivets are annoying as fuck. But I have done one of these pony hoods where I basically didn't use almost any rivets. I stitched almost all of it, and yeesh, did that suck. Like, it worked, it was very pretty, but it was very, very labor intensive. And this goes under, over, under. Exceptionally labor intensive to do this whole thing with stitching. I'm sure you can imagine, if you saw how long it took me to do, it took me over almost 2 hours, a bit under 2 hours, just under 2 hours to do those 3 stitch lines. Now, imagine replacing all of these rivet sets with stitch lines instead. And, you know, it becomes quite a thing. Bink. Now, where did that... That's going to annoy me, because I felt it... Oh, there it is! Found it. It was just blended against... It was just blended against something else. All right. Things are progressing. Well, I want to make sure you... Gas, gas, gas. Alright. We shouldn't have to use that glue. That was just there from another thing I was doing. Oh, right. I need to get the heat gun going. Duh. Okay. Glue gun. Come here, glue gun. Hot glue gun. Yay, hot glue gun. Hot glue is useful in leatherworking in a lot of ways. I found it is exceptionally useful when you just need to tack something in place that you are going to secure later. But for what we're doing on this project, it will need to be doing more than that. It's going to be doing a lot with securing the hair in place. So, need to remember to do things more on better on camera, more on camera. Another boy cars. So, are we starting to see how Mr. Pony is coming together? Oops. Are we seeing how Mr. Pony is starting to come together? He's starting to take shape. I really should, honestly, Lori. Like, I bet if I could figure out a way to do good hoofs, I could probably make a ton of money. I have no idea how I would work that, though. It would probably have something to do with 3D printing combining with the leather work, but I have no idea how I would do it. Nice day for a black wedding. I mean, Believe me, I absolutely would if I could. Okay. There are definitely kinds of 3D printing I would trust to be able to support for horse hooves. Damn it, Lori, now you've got me thinking. I mean, you're not wrong. Like, when I start thinking about something, my brain does kind of go into that a little bit of an overdrive state. Mostly because I become obsessive over it and I can't stop thinking about it until I figure it out. If I stayed all for instead of for a year. Oof, that came out very poorly. So that is a misset rivet right there. That is a very badly misset rivet. We're just going to pop that and redo it. That can happen occasionally. Think. Rivet go burr. It is a very good thing that I'm doing this with such flexible leather. Better. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Yeah, I suppose that's supposed to work that way. Might have been wrong, but meh. I think I did this wrong. Yeah, I did this wrong. I did this in the wrong layering. What that means is that certain things that were supposed to be on top weren't. Basically, this layer should have been underneath that layer. So, I fucked it up. So I'm going to have to redo it. That's okay. That happens. It's been a while since I've done one of these, so I'm not, not surprised I would miss something. It doesn't take much to fix it. Just need to pop the rivet off and or cut the rivet off and redo it. Preferably without scratching it up too much. There we go. I was honestly wondering what I would screw up on this build. Not if I would screw up on this build, but what I would screw up. Because it was basically guaranteed that I would screw up something. Oof. Please, I hope that gets covered up. It should, but... There we go. But you never know for certain. Alright. So let's do this in the right order. All right. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Pocket like it's hot. Pocket like it's hot. Let's redo this in the right order this time. Okay. You know, it's kind of always the case. It's always not a question of. It's not a question of ever if you'll screw up. It's a question of what you screw up. And is the screw up enough to end the project? Most of the time, the answer is no. The project is not enough to end the project. It is just a mild annoyance to deal with. I have no idea what this is. I have no idea. Let me look. Straight out of Cyrodiil? Doctor Strange. Whatever that is. Whatever this is a thing. We're almost to the part that I really, really don't like doing. But, you know. Okay, and it was very silly, whatever. It was very, very silly. That's what it was. Knew that was going to happen. It settled sideways. We had another bad set, so I'm going to come back through and try again. Especially when folding over leather, sometimes bad sets are... It'll take 2 or 3 tries to get a good set. All you can do is try it again and try it again and... try it again. I'm trying to keep everything somewhat centered, although it's hard because I'm sort of favoring the right side at the moment. Which I have to do because of all the rivets that I'm setting, so I apologize for not keeping everything. Yes, Lori? Okay. Also... now our pony has ears. How's our pony looking? Riveting. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Discord. So Lori, I will trust your judgment on that. I have zero idea if any of that will work or what it means, because I don't know how to read. I don't know how to read electronics. Board guidelines. So yeah. Yeah, no, I figured that's what it was. I figured that's what I was seeing, Lori. I just did not know. Did not know. I don't know how to read. As I said, I don't know how to read circuit boards layouts. So, yeah. So that's pretty much what I figured it would be. I just didn't know what I was looking at. All right. Now here is the part that I was coming to dread, which is we have to attach the main to the headpiece. And I usually like to do this part before I actually rivet this piece, because this piece basically goes up here. Ooh, can't see it. So this piece usually goes kind of right here behind the eyes. And I like to do this piece, the main, before I attach it, because maneuvering that whole thing around. Attaching the mane will make it much more than 20% cooler, honestly. Attaching the mane is like adds a whole level of personality to the pony. For example, I will leave it up to you, chat, to decide, do we want a black and pink mane, or do we want a black and purple mane, or do we want a pure black mane? Because those are our three choices. Pink, because yes, I could absolutely do a pure black on black, and some people like that, but I always like to have at least a little bit of color in my... I thought you were going to bed, Raven. Are you being a naughty Raven and staying up past your bedtime? All right. I thought you did say you were going to bed because you had to do things tomorrow. Why did I think that was you, Raven? I could have sworn. Okay. This is part of where the kind of the more, I would say, artistry of this comes in that I'm basically, for this part, I'm effectively just trying to get everything to roughly line up. So, oh, no, that's the side I want on. All right, so we want it to go to about there. Yeah, this is very much kind of the improv section of this whole piece because, well, if you do, I understand entirely. Now, I will say this part would be immensely easier if I stitched it. Well, it wouldn't be easier, it would be cleaner if I stitched it. However, I, again, dislike stitching. So we're just doing... We're doing this instead. Right, I also need the 2-inch piece, because the 2-inch piece becomes an extension for this. So I need to mark the 2-inch piece. As I said, this is the part where I'm very much just kind of improvising with the goal of just setting up something that works. As a way to hold the main in place. So, pardon me if I'm kind of Alright, so now we're going to bend this down and over. And we're going to force this over. All right. And since we're going to be pushing the leather up a little bit to accommodate the hair, I need to kind of bring these in and adjust these. Again, the entire goal here is to secure the mane. And to do that, we're improvising a strap that will have a little extra spacing. I'm going to squish that in and just... This is where you just take advantage of the flexibility of your leather. This is me just saying, fuck it. I will force you in until I have some space. Okay? Then I need to create the space for the hair itself. Oh, right. We want the way I do my mains, I leave a little center bar. And the center bar becomes where the main basically anchors. This is where the hot glue will come in handy. All right. Now you'll see why I need a ton of hot glue and why I waited so long to do this part. wanted the black and the pink. This is the artificial hair we use for the mane. I have never actually heard this song before. I guess I have. All right. And I literally take the hair and push it through the leather. Until it's centered. Push it through here. All right. All right. Spread it out a bit. Spread it out a bit. Get it all nice and hopefully detangled. All right. As you can see, it's bulky. This is why we used a soft leather for this. All right. All the hair, all the fluffy hair. So we need this. This then attaches to this. No, this. And this attaches to this. So we need one that goes through there. This part is the pain in the ass part because now I have to fight with the hair whenever I'm doing things. Okay. Oh, right. I need this piece as well. We are doing multi-layered stuff. All of the multi-layered stuff. Yep. But can you kind of tell why I waited to do this until last? As soon as you add hair to the equation, everything just gets so much more complicated. Trying to get everything lined up becomes harder. Having the leather bend in the right ways. Bad bot. Ben. Oh, there it is. Ben. Ben. Ben the bot. Naughty bot, you get the ban hammer. Right. Trying to not get the hair caught in the rivets, which is harder than it sounds. Okay. Alright. Now we're going to put in the other rivets. This is why I shifted in the rivets a little bit, was to give me slack to install the hair. But yeah, this is definitely the more annoying part of the whole affair. All the hair gets tangled up and it gets everywhere. Like, you can't help it. As I said, it's the reason that I hold off and I do this part separately from before I attach it to the actual before I attach it to the actual main head, because the hair becomes more or less uncontrollable as soon as you get it out of the bag. You can kind of tell. So alright, that's one side done. Now to do the other side. Alright, and let's... There's a little rubber band in there. Let's pop that. Get this a little untangled so it'll spread out a little bit more, flatten down a little bit more. There we go. Good night. Good night, Raven. Rawr. Head pats for Raven. Sleep goods. I hope you get to do some more project stuff. Yay, head pats. I hope you get to do some more head pat project stuff soon. And you get to do some more good leather stuff and have all the fun. So, yay. So head pats and have a good night. Sleep goods. Scritchy scritchy too. On the Herald proxy for head pats. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. We're almost done, surprisingly enough. I'm not going to 100% finish this tonight. I'm not going to do the fitting straps, which are the straps that hold the mask in place. I'm going to wait to do those another day. I wanted to get the base design down. So we're actually not going for incredible amounts longer. Just enough to get this done, get this glued into place, and then we will rivet it to the main hood. After I'm finished dealing with all of the bloody hair being in the way. You know, they make a device that is specifically for setting doll hair. Sometimes I am envious of that when I'm doing this. There's one more rivet, and it just does not want to go through the hair. So I'm trying to push the hair down and out of the way enough to get the rivet through. So let's see if I can do this a different way. Let's see if I can do this with a longer rivet. No. Come on, behave for me. You're my last rivet. Yes! Ha! Got you! Alright. So, we've got this basically secure, but to give it a little bit more fullness, I will usually take the hot glue gun and basically spread out the hair a little bit. So, let's grab my hot glue gun. And Jam a little hot glue down there and push in some of the hair. And really what this does is this just makes the hair spread out a little bit, so it has a little bit more of a full look to it. Did that not get set? That didn't get set. That's fine. We can set that now. I'm fairly, even with just the slot in the middle with how tight this is held, I'm fairly confident that this hair is not going to, like, go anywhere, but adding a little hot glue here, as I said, is just a nice little accent to make it spread out more, hang a little bit more on the... hang a little bit more from the person. Okay. We have one more step we're going to do today. And that is attach this to the main body of the main piece of the mask. There are a couple more steps after that I will be doing, but I will be finishing that off stream. They're basic stuff. They're basically just attaching the securing buckles and straps. Nothing that's really important to the overall structure and look of the piece. All right. So the last piece, basically, this needs to go in there. As you can guess, like everything at this step, because of the hair, this is difficult. So, yeah, we're gonna do our best to make this easy, but I promise nothing, because, well, everything gets more complicated when there's the hair involved. Alright, first two. Oop. Get that out of the way. Okay, and then that side, the other side. Alright. Woo! First one attached. Great. Now we need long boys. Long boy rivets. To go through there, and come here, you. And you. Sorry, this isn't... I can't show you a lot of this. I'm basically... For this stuff, I'm basically muscling around the leather, and sometimes I can't do that on camera because it's a very clumsy maneuver. So yeah, so I'm doing my best to show it on screen, but some of this stuff just doesn't work that way. Because I'm literally like stretching and maneuvering this leather the most kind of stressing the leather, moving it around to its limits to get it to do this. Ooh. Great, now I need to shift it to the other side. This is really a challenge at this point, but I think it's worth it. That is too small a rivet. I can tell that just from feeling it. Okay, and nope. No. Rivet pop before I can set it. Sometimes that happens, especially, as I said, when I'm really muscling this leather around. It likes to fight you. Oh, nope. Popped out again. Come here, you stupid little rivet. So basically, the rivet I'm having a problem with is this corner right here. It's going through 3 layers of leather, and it's in a very awkward position. So every time I shift it, it's doing weird, fucked up things, and so it's fighting me every time I move it. Stay. Nope. All right, let's see if I can come at it from a different angle. This is where, if I had more confidence in my hammering and anvil skills, I might just manual set this rivet. Like, I might just, like, hammer it, but I am not confident in those skills. Not nearly as confident as maybe I should be. I have no doubts I would slide the rivet, which is never a good thing. Like I just did. Fuck. I didn't even see you commenting about the hammer. Yeah, as I said, like, if I had any confidence in hammer setting my rivets, I would. But this guy, is in an awkward enough position that I would be very, very unsure of my ability to do it. Got it. It only took me like 3 rivets and 4 tries. Alright, that means we should be able to do the other pieces now. Whew. Alright. Would have been faster, but it would have been done worse. Okay. Woo! And there we go. Yes, as I said, it needs to have some of its... It's going to have some of its... I'm going to be doing some of the securing straps. I really should comb out this hair a little bit, but I don't have a comb handy. So, there we go. Okay, that. What you think? Do you like our new pony friend? Snoot. Snoot. Snoot, snoot, snoot. Boop. Boop, boop. Booping the snoot. Booping the snoot. But what do you think of our new little pony friend? Hmm? Is good pony friend? Is this a good pony friend? Pony friend. Wide long face. 'Cause it's a horse. 'Cause is horse. All right. So, with that, I'm going to call it here, I think. We're about 20 minutes after 3 hours. I was kind of... Quite possibly. That took about as long as I kind of expected it would. I knew this would take. Knew this would take probably 3 hours, but I left myself some other stuff in case it didn't. But no, it did. As I said, I am going to finish up with some additional. The securing straps to hold it in place, and a strap down the back that's going to hold those straps in place. But otherwise, that's all minor stuff that's not going to take me long to finish, and I am going to finish off stream. But I think that is all going to be it for our pony friend today. Let me go in here and do that. We can turn off the background for now, and I can remember to turn on the recording so it goes on my VOD again. But I think that's going to be it for today. We're going to head over and raid Daruda. Daruda is, of course, doing his usual Thursday multiplayer stream. I'll just make sure of that. Yes, they are. They are, in fact, doing their usual multiplayer stream. So we're gonna raid Daruda. I will be back on Sunday. We will either be doing games or we will be doing more leather work. With that, raid Daruda. Probably raiding with with just one person, just you, Lori. Oh no, there are more of us. Yay, more of us. All of you, have a good day. I hope you learned something today. I hope today was better than yesterday. I hope tomorrow is better still. But until I see you again, bye-bye.